Welcome to Becoming is Messy, where we dive deep into the journey of survival, transformation, and everything in between. I'm your host, Meghann Dawson, here to share the honest, unfiltered stories behind my own process of becoming. Life isn't a pretty and perfect straight line, and neither is becoming the person we're meant to be. Here, we embrace the ups, the downs, and all the beautiful, chaotic, messy moments that shape who we are. Whether you're in the thick of change or reflecting on past transformations, this space is for real conversations about what it means to grow, stumble, and rise again. So get comfy, settle in, and let's get messy. Hello, my fellow messies, and welcome back to another episode of Becoming is Messy. Today's conversation opens the door to something that can feel both deeply intuitive and at times a little hard to explain. Healing, energy, and the ways our bodies and inner knowing communicate with us. But instead of making this abstract or out of reach, today's conversation is about making real, grounded, and accessible in our everyday lives. It connects beautifully to our let your inner voice lead step in our unperfect level up framework. So many of us have been taught to look outside of ourselves for answers, experts, systems, strategies, validation. But there's another layer always available to us, one that comes from within. Learning how to hear, trust, and follow your inner voice is not about having all the answers. It's about building a relationship with yourself where you begin to recognize what feels true, aligned, and right for you. This conversation invites us to reconnect with that voice. And today I am joined by Debra Martin, an energy healer, intuitive practitioner, and teacher who supports individuals in reconnecting with their own healing abilities and inner guidance. Through her work, Debra helps people understand the energetic and emotional layers that influence their physical and mental well-being, offering a perspective that bridges intuitive insight with practical lived experience. Her approach invites people to move beyond seeking external answers and instead develop trust in their own inner knowing. Debra, it's an honor to have you join us today. Thank you for being
Such an
here.
honor just listening to you speak and everything that you're saying.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Well, I'm happy to kick us off. To get us started, help us set the stage for today and tell us a little bit about the season that you're currently in now.
The season I'm in now that's messy, I would say there's so much unsettledness in the world right now. Plus, I have a friend and a family member going through cancer, so a lot of unknowns. And when unknowns hit us, we go to sometimes the what ifs, and it takes us off balance. So my season is to surrender, to trust, and alignment. And it's not always easy to trust. And we'll talk about that and how to surrender and how do I stay in alignment. And I think the biggest thing is when I'm going through this mess, I have to recognize and ask myself, Debra, are you at peace? And then I'm like, no, I'm really not. I can feel it. You can feel it in the center of your chest. It's just like that angst, that something doesn't feel right. And you might not even know what that is. You just know that you're off. And that's when I pause. I pause and I say, okay, I need to come back to the center, come back to alignment, and I'm going to surrender. And when I surrender, I tell people you can journal. For me, I just speak out loud. I'm speaking to God. Like sometimes I'll cry. Sometimes like this is just too much. And I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Not happy with it. You're raw. You're speaking your truth. And that's the way to surrender it. You don't hold it and, oh, please make this better. No, you're having that raw conversation with God and you're saying, here, because this is too heavy for me to hold. And then you're trusting that you're handing it over and you're trusting. And by trusting, you're saying, I trust that God can do so much more than I can. And the outcome's going to be what it's going to be. And I have to trust whatever that's going to be is going to happen in divine time and exactly how it's meant to be. And that's that. When you do that work, all of a sudden you can breathe. It's like you let it all out. So then what do I have to do? It doesn't just come with releasing. Now I'm trusted. I'm trusting the process. I have to go refocus. And by refocusing, I have to come back to my own alignment. And that is eating healthy, meditating, exercise. Exercise is really important for me because it takes my mind into really thinking what I'm doing and not anything else. And also finding nature, listening to the birds outside, getting outside, stepping outside, seeing the beauty that surrounds me because that raises my vibration because it brings me joy. So there's all kinds of different aspects and what brings you alignment, what brings you joy, what brings you love because I'm loving myself. And I find it so interesting with my work too. God has a way. And I've learned his process now with me. And it's like, oh, my work is slow. My work's slow next week. What's going to happen? Somebody's going to need me. Maybe, I hope I'm not going to get sick, but there's going to be a reason. And I was like, okay, I'm ready for it. And it could be even that I'm going to leap into something bigger and it needs my attention. Whatever it is, I now don't get worried. I go, ah, this is a gift of time that I'm getting because I need to take care of whatever I'm going to face next week. And so I don't look at it like, oh, it's going to be negative because it could also be very positive. And so you just don't fret the small stuff. You're just like, there's a reason for it. I trust it. All right, let's see how it's going to happen. I embrace it.
How did you have so many nuggets of wisdom there that I can't wait to unpack. Walk us back a little bit first. And every life has its own messy path. What have been some of the twists and turns that have brought you to this position in today?
Goosebumps here. There's so much. It started with my childhood. My mother had a incurable disease that I grew up with. My father committed suicide. And I was in my 20s, early 20s, 21. And so I had to start living on my own without my parents' support or guidance. And then I went into a marriage that was abusive. So I've learned that. And I look at these messinesses as I can go back to them now and see the lesson or the blessing. So whatever season you're in, know that there's a reason for it. And so then as I went through life, I had 3 NDEs and I also had cancer. And I'm like, after the 3 NDEs and cancer comes, I'm like, are you kidding me? Why? Cancer gave me such a great lesson when it comes to healing. So everything built on itself. But the big messy was my 3rd NDE. My 3rd NDE gave me the gift of healing. I was really sick and dying, and I crossed over and I had a conversation with God. I felt God. I was standing in front of God and I made an oath. He said, you're going to go back with the gift of healing. And I didn't know what that meant. Like, I was doing mediumship work. I really wasn't doing healing work, but I trusted it. And I can remember he signed this 12112. The numbers are all reversible, and so is this. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back and be healthy. So when I came back into my body, I could feel a shift right then. I could feel myself coming in. And when I took my breath, it was like coming up from being underwater. I was like, something just changed. Am I the same person? So with each greatness comes what do I say? Comes hardship. What happened here is I started doing healing work and I was seeing miracles. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. This is my new mission. This is my path. My former husband at the time said, this is not my path. I can't do it. So now I have this crossroad here, a choice. and we're gonna make a mutual decision, so I don't want anybody to feel bad, right? So it's a mutual decision, but with that mutual decision, I was scared. I was frightened. This wasn't a job. I didn't work a 9 to 5
Yeah.
job. I am now fully trusting God, like, I'm gonna do this, you're gonna bring the people, but I don't know how. I don't know how. I'm walking through the grocery store going crying, going, "Am I gonna be able to buy food? Am I gonna be able to pay my bills?" There was a time when I was so low, I thought I was suicidal. But God was always there lifting me up, showing me every step of the way, "You got this." And so that was my real messy because it was like a person I love dearly not accepting me for who I am and the growth. And I had to understand that it wasn't me, not his journey, part of his journey. And when you do that, you can love one another and still walk away.
Oh,
It was hard. It was really hard. But each thing made me the healer I am today. Like the first NDE was mediumship. I opened my mediumship. The second NDE, I was out of body and I could see everything coming from below. And it just shifted me to a higher level of mediumship. And then the third, like I said, gave me the healing. And then I got the cancer where now I understand helping people with cancer. I walk through it. I'm not just standing on the outside of the door looking in. I'm actually holding their hand. So I can see it now and I can say thank you. And I can say, I've, these were lessons. These hardships were lessons. They weren't failure. They weren't there like, why would God hurt you so much? This wasn't caused by hurt. It was caused by growth. I really believe I was being molded into who I am today. If I didn't walk away, was I going to really stand in my work? It's like I was standing in my truth. It was the core of who I am. I am going to do this. How? I don't know, but I trusted each step of the way and everything always shone. One of the biggest things that God showed me through all of this, it was like my big aha moment. So when I got divorced, we sold our house and we each bought houses. But I didn't have any income, so I had to have him co-sign. So the agreement was when my daughter would graduate high school, I had to take over the loan or sell the home. That's not that wasn't many years of growth that I had here. So it was always every year going, "Uh-oh, it's coming." So I woke up one probably like 8 months before she would graduate, maybe a little earlier than that. And I woke up hearing, "Now's the time. Now's the time." And I go, "Okay, now's the time I need to find a mortgage company." So I did, and it was called Guardian Mortgage. And I'm like, "Okay, I feel like I'm in the right place." And they said, "We can make this work." And I got the papers and I signed it on July 4th, Independence Day. And when I sent the papers in, I looked at the address and it was on Trinity Lane.
oh,
And so you
goosebumps.
can't make that up. And so you have to see the
Right.
signs and you have to say thank you. I was told when to do it. I trusted, even though I'm like,
Yes.
how is this going to work? Really? And then go, all right, I'll do my part. You do your part and let's see what happens.
Wow. So, one thing I want to ask right now is I want to name the one that you referring to that voice that God comes to you and helps guide you. It was funny, Deborah and I talked before the show about how we use different language sometimes, and where I might say my inner voice. I also have a bigger being. Sometimes I say spirit, sometimes I say universe. So I wanted to ground us to that different nomenclature and that in the essence of it is we're describing a shared experience. I'm wondering from your vantage point, when you've heard that voice, especially after those messy times, how did you come to trust that voice? What did that look like for
It
you?
was so strong. So when I
Mhm.
woke up,
Yeah.
I had a hemorrhoid that was bothering me. I woke up to hearing a strong voice. remove it now. And I went,
Yeah.
I knew what it was. And I was like, what? And so I went to the doctors and she's like, why are you back? And I go, because I want this removed. She said, no, we're not going to remove it. And I said, no, I really need to have this removed. Deborah, we're not going to remove it. It's just inflamed. And I said, intuitively, I know my body. I am asking you to remove it. We fought this. And so that just shows you that inner voice, the voice I heard outside, but that inner strength, that knowingness, I call it, the voice of knowingness
Yes.
was so
Yes.
strong that I was like, argued. And we know our bodies better. And I knew what I heard. And I trusted God so much in the past that I know, oh, so they removed it. And 4 days later, I found out that I had cancer. Had I had left it, I
Mm.
probably wouldn't be here.
What a beautiful example. And I shared, I'm feeling my scar where my thyroid cancer was, and the diagnosis came from a very similar to, I kept getting diagnosed with different symptoms. And so I was up to 9 different medications. And I just knew something was wrong. And I kept on telling people that I swore this felt a little bit off. And doctors would feel it and they would say, no, it's normal. And it was a mini tumor, that it's just that knowing in yourself and not think that's such an important thing for listeners to know to trust deeply when it's that deep and clear and direct. That is that deeper knowing. And where that comes from, I can't always articulate in a way that I understand, but I do know it to be
It's
true.
true. Like people call source, divine, universe, voice.
Yes,
To me, it's all
exactly.
one and the same
Me
because
too. Exactly.
I believe God is love. I believe the universe is love. I
No,
believe
same,
the voice that's
same.
coming to us, love, spirit
Exactly.
is love. So if we look at it as an energy of love, sometimes people can
Yep.
embrace that easier. That there doesn't have to be a title. Right.
No, it's the feeling. I
Mhm.
think it's the feeling. And what resonates for you is like not letting the words be a roadblock of your belief in healing.
100% because it's like even with illness, you get a
Mhm.
diagnosis and all of a sudden that becomes power. Oh my God, it's incurable. Who's saying that? You're telling me that.
Right.
I'm not gonna own that.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna own a title to it. It's just a piece of me. And I've learned to love that. I loved
Mm.
my cancer. I didn't fight it. I sent love to it. I
Yep.
talked to it. What are you here to teach me? Why are you here? What are we doing here together? Embracing the body, talking to the body, and being your biggest advocate of loving yourself. And so through these times, through the messy times, it is that alignment of love. You're going back to embrace yourself with love. You're being your biggest cheerleader, right? You got this.
Yes.
You can do this. You have more courage than. And when you start speaking those words, really speaking it, you feel it. It's powered
It's
by it.
true.
You become stronger. And yeah, and so it's trust and hearing the words I would say too from a diagnosis and the doctor saying no. I worked with another doctor after that, and she brought her whole team in to hear the story. And she said, I want everyone in this room to know that a patient knows their body better than we do. And that says it all right there.
It does. I'm so glad that they did that. That's been my whole life, has been medical struggles and a bit of overcoming that. I've also had wonderful medicals
It's
all
true.
around, but I'm a part of the team. That's how I view it. We all have a different lens that we're looking through, and I'm as equally a part of the team as those on the medical staff, and we work together.
100%.
And if something doesn't feel right, then
Exactly.
question it. I think that's what it is sometimes, is that we my next question for you was about the people you work with and just a sense of what are some common themes for people that override that inner knowing? And I think for me, this one example is sometimes when it's like an expert that we view as an expert in some way, we sometimes trump our own deepest knowing because of that expert label. But in your world, what are some other things that you see that kind of keep people a little bit disconnected from following that inner knowing?
Fear. The fear
Mm,
that, like when I heard cancer, I couldn't voice it. it stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, oh. So fear settles in and you have to embrace the fear, notice it. That's an emotion. Emotions are real and it's okay to have fear. That's a humanness reaction. And then say, what is fear doing? Fear is causing resistance. Fear is making me feel stuck in this moment. Fear is giving power to whatever you're going through. And I choose to take my power back. And how are we going to take our power back? We're going to say, I'm going to take that fear and I replace it with faith. I have faith in myself. I have faith in my doctors. I have faith in my own modalities. I have faith that all is going to be well, even if I don't know it, right? So when
Mm.
I'm going through cancer, I can't see what's happening. It's not like a broken leg where you're seeing it heal. You don't know the cells that are going on in your body. You don't know what's happening. All I could do was trust that no matter what, no matter the outcome, I'm going to be okay. And that freed.
How do people that is so freeing, and, oh gosh, so much of your language resonates very deeply with me. My words are peace and
Yes.
freedom. They are words that they used to be a future North Star for me. However, I'm now in a spiritual place where they are in my every moment because I choose for that to be in my every moment, and that's a different perspective as I'm living, and I'm wondering, for people that aren't there yet, I know they will get there as they listen to that inner voice and trust it. But how do you start building that trust up when you are a little skeptical that what we're saying is true?
I think, first of all, is recognition of the peace, right? To me, is my foundation. It's essential keeping your body balanced. It's essential for your mind, your whole being. And so you recognize when you're not in that space. Do you have anxiety? Do you have stress? Do you have worry? Do you have concern? Are you overwhelmed? Is your job financially, whatever it may be? Things are going to hit us. These are normal. So you recognize them. And then when you recognize them, like I said, you have to speak to it. How is this serving me? How can I let these feelings go? What can I do on my part? Like, I went to the doctor, I felt my inner knowing, I trusted what I needed to do. But how do you know your inner knowing, right? How do you know that inner knowing? Sit with yourself. It's not like you're going to get the answers right away, but when you sit with it and you release it, it's somebody that when you have that cancer and it's always on your mind, you stop living. So you have to find that joy in your life to raise your vibration too, to balance that. But at the same time, and I think when you do that and you step away from all that noise, that's when you find that knowingness because you didn't block it. The fear didn't hold that heavy weight on you. Now you're open
Uh,
to it. You're breathing outside. You might be taking a walk and all of a sudden, boop, oh, that little nudge. And there's that message. And you might think you thought of that. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that before? Is spirit give that to you? Is that from you? It doesn't matter. You got it. And now you feel like, yeah, that feels right. That's that knowingness. When it just, you can't search for it. It just
Yep.
comes. It's like you with this. It's like,
Yes.
I just know. Feel it. You
Yes.
can't
Yeah.
even explain that. Feel
Yes.
it inside you. And I know that's hard to describe to people, but it's hard to describe your feelings. But when it's so strong that you don't ignore it, I think that's what it is.
Exactly.
You choose not to ignore it is when we push it aside and just go on with everything. We're not embracing those emotions. We're pushing it aside. We're not going to find that inner knowingness because we don't want it. And
Yes, help us understand. It took me a while to understand that difference between that inner knowing and sometimes anxiety would still creep in and I would get a little confused, I feel, with my inner thoughts. And I'm wondering from your perspective, just some language to help explain how you recognize the difference between those two
it's
things.
important because I think they go hand in hand. If you're going through a stressful ordeal, you might get aligned, you might have this knowingness, and it might still have anxiety because you're walking through it. When you have anxiety, it stops you. And what is spirit saying to you? You need to pause. You
Mm.
you need to pause. It's recognizing your body. Your body is telling you without knowing it, your body is
Yes,
telling you
yes.
something's happening. You need to pay attention. And if you don't pay attention, here's the anxiety to show you that this is what's inside of you that
Mm.
needs to come out. And what do we have to do when we have anxiety? We have to pause and breathe. And breath is our greatest gift. It's free. And we just have
Mhm.
to really what I do is if it happens, I make my breath different. I'll take a deep breath in and I'll go because now I'm concentrating on that, right? And then I breathe in deep again, fill the lungs and recognize how am I feeling right now? It's starting to go away. And as they goes hand in hand, because what are you doing? That anxiety is teaching you your unknowingness. I know that it is going away. I know I'm going to be fine. I know that I am breathing. I am safe. I am okay. And I think those are important words to say as you are going through those stressful anxiety moments or anything that's uncertain. I'm okay. I'm at peace. I am safe. Breathe. But
Yes.
what did your body just do? It recognized the knowingness I am safe. I am okay. I am breathing. And I took that moment for myself to love myself and to embrace myself. You had no choice, right? It's those times when we have those emotions that we have to make the choice. Am I going to continue to walk through this crazy messiness? And we have to walk through it, but how am I going to do it? Am I going to do it with grace, hold its hand, talk to it, feel it, embrace it? Or I'm going to say, this sucks and I don't want to deal with it and shut the door to it. I'm going to ignore it. I will tell you, it will surface.
It will. That was very much I was asked before my cancer diagnosis. Very much I earlier on in my journey, I very much was a people pleaser. I never wanted to rock the boat. I turned that inner knowing off. I ignored it. And I used to be asked, do I have autoimmune disease was one. Had I ever had cancer was another. I ended up with two forms of cancer eventually, as well as two different types of autoimmune disease. And I can't fully explain exactly how it's all connected or what caused it, but I do believe that my health issues very much are connected to all the things I held
I
inside
think,
of me. My health has been incredible ever since walking this spiritual journey and living as you're
yes.
suggesting.
And if you think about it here, you weren't voicing your
Mhm.
truth. You never let that out.
Right,
So it's stuck
right.
there.
Exactly. And it feels that. And my inner knowing very much aligns to that. Feels
And
that
so
way.
you were able to let some of that trauma go. A lot of trauma, when we receive trauma as a child, I see that a lot with clients that I'm helping, and they don't tell me anything, but it'll show up. And
Uh-huh.
they'll go, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Because they don't know as a child how to heal it, right? It could be abuse from a parent, and the parent's not going to help
Yeah.
you heal it. So this is all they know. This is the way they grew up, but they don't know that this is something that needs to be healed. This was their norm. So they pushed it way deep down and it affects them in ways of feeling not enough, afraid
Uh-huh.
to feel secure in situations. Did I say the right words? Did I say the wrong words? Not loving yourself for who you are. And I think that's really important because we're always comparing ourselves. Did I say the right words? Did I show up right? Show up as your authentic self. Be who you are because you are magnificent the way that you were born. I love this one
Okay.
time I had this healing session, and this woman just was not happy with her entire being, self-love, self-sabotage, everything, right? And God said, all those things people said about you, you owned. So, do you have a problem with who I created you and how I created you to be? Tell me. And it's humbling. I said, now let's hand over all of that mess, that stuff, back to the person that gave it to you. It's not yours to hold. And so, for anybody listening, visualize that person, hand it back. Say, I'm done. Here's my, and you might have a book full. Here, I'm not going to hold it anymore. Be free from it.
Yeah.
And those are little
What
tools.
they are little tools, and I was gonna expand on the tools. Yeah, and, mentioning of self-love and authenticity, I very much feel that we are being called right now to focus on this as a collective. I used to think my trauma background kind of put me in a bucket of other, and separate from people that didn't have that. And now I believe we have collectively been traumatized these last bunch of years, whether it was the pandemic, whether it's our political environment, whether it's now a war that many of us don't want to. It's a lot on our nervous systems. And I believe that we are facing an epidemic of chronic trauma. And from there, thinking of self-love journeys, what are some just kind of daily practices? I have a feeling there's still folks listening that who maybe haven't really bought in yet to spirituality or a designated religion, or just have some skepticisms of kind of what many call woo woo
Exactly.
practices. And I feel like to remove that stigma, I love to bring things down to just
Very
practical
simple.
level. Just some little daily practices that people can do just to start connecting to themselves and really eventually loving themselves. Is there any tips that you
I
would
think the
share?
biggest tip is let love lead, right?
Mm,
And so let it
mhm.
lead. There's going to be change in life. And how do we let love lead? We embrace ourselves with love. What do you love to do? What makes you feel good? It doesn't have to be, you could wake up in the morning and say, I love you. You can hug yourself at night and go, we made it through another day. Good job. Let's say there's uncomfortable conversations, uncomfortable things happening at work. I always say lead with love, because then you never ever will have regret, and you walk away with peace. Because how many times have we argued back and we got caught in the hype, and then we leave and we go, gosh, I don't feel good. Maybe I shouldn't have said
Right.
that. But if I led with love and came from, you can voice your truth, but do it in a graceful way, where if you're leading it
Yes.
with love, the other person's gonna see your words clearer, and you're gonna walk away going, "Wow, that felt good. I'm okay." And so I always
Yes.
just say, any kind of practice you're doing, just lead with love. It will bring you,
I
it will
love that.
come to your center, it will, and it can be hard, because you might be
Mhm.
feeling like, life sucks right now. I'm going through a major illness. I'm stuck in a hospital. I'm not seeing the light outside. I have no visitors. Maybe you have no family left. Your dog died. You have no one to talk to. I'm talking about everything hitting you rock bottom.
Yeah.
There's
Mhm.
still light, and you shine that light. And that's what you have to remember. And I think the act of kindness, if you do, say you're stuck in that hospital and you do one act of kindness of saying, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do without you being here today, giving me this food. See the shift in that person's light. Like all of a sudden, her worth went up, and it like ripple effects. So you can use the tool of kindness, of looking out the window and seeing the birds, opening the window if you can, hear the birds, seeing the light, let it come in and warm you. And sometimes even when it's dark out, I'll say, "I just need to feel you." And I'll get this warmth that just says, "Oh, wow, it feels
Mm.
like a hot flash." Or I might even get the chills down me. "Ooh, yeah, they're here. I'm not alone." And who's here? Could be my parents on the other side supporting me. I just believe we're not alone. Don't ever feel that you're alone. And if you lead with love, whether you're doing it for someone else, most importantly, do it for yourself.
That was so beautiful, and what you're sharing reminds me. I love you said earlier on too. You mentioned speaking out and asking for help, asking God, source, speak it out loud, and that has been, I would say, a newer practice for me because I sometimes have a little bit of a spiritual shaming of myself where maybe I am letting my nervous system get out of whack. I went to Costco yesterday and I was in such a good place. And then it was exposed to the collective people, the crowd, and it just felt, walking through there was a lot to me. I usually do okay protecting myself, but I could just feel just so much negative. And I got into the car, I
Yes.
cried. And I said out loud, "I just need help. I just need," and it calmed me. My exact words were, "It's just too much. I'm trying, but I need help." And that was it. And just by saying that, my body did exactly what you described and just gave me that
You
calming.
agree with me?
Uh,
And then you took a breath. And as you took a breath, I believe you took in peace. And it was the
mm,
embrace from the universe saying, "Okay, we got you. You're okay."
mm,
But you're people that are highly sensitive, we feel other people's emotions. We also attract other energies, right? So one of the things that I do is I imagine myself zipping up my extra armor suit and thinking, okay, and
yes.
I just say, okay, I put the white bubble on, the white bubble of shield. And so it all bounces off of me and I can stay
Good.
with my light high, vibration high. Not that it happens all the time. There's times that I'm going to have to feel it, like you say, but it does seem to help is that shield.
That is wonderful. I think I'm gonna have to do my shield more. I feel like that's what I'm feeling right now in my inner knowing is that is a message I was meant to hear from you today. Because what happens for me, and maybe listeners can relate, is that I don't always see it coming. I'm living my life. I'm having a great day. I'm walking on sunshine, and I find myself in an environment that I wasn't expecting being so overwhelming, an environment that might usually feel good to me. And so I think that just upping that zipper and putting it on more frequently is a practice that I'm
And
gonna
you can just
take.
say, shield me now. That right.
Yes,
Is
yeah,
I
of course.
think another way to look at this, Megan, is what you did was beautiful. You went in with this beautiful energy that other people could feel, and you attracted their stuff. So you took a little off of their weight, a little off of them. And it didn't feel good, but you knew, oh my gosh, I felt everybody's weight and this is too much. But by doing so and then voicing it and releasing it, you helped them without even knowing. So you can give yourself like, wow, that was necessary for me to be there for them, even though I didn't know it. I'm having this great day and then it sucked. And then now I'm giving back by, I'm going to look at the positive here. I took it on, but I don't need to carry it. I surrender.
So we're gonna shift gears and go to our rapid reel segment, and just a few questions, whatever pops into your head
Okay.
first. The first one, for you, what is a sign that you notice when you are out of alignment? What does that feel like for you?
Okay. I know immediately when I'm off alignment because I feel like my brain isn't always there. I'm overthinking, I'm doing too many things, I'm overtasking, and I also feel like I'm not breathing right. I'm like, "At this time, you're doing that more." And I can feel the angst. I can feel that I'm not calm in even how I'm reacting in my day-to-day things, you know, what I could let go and, "Oh, it's okay if the living room is messy." Now I'm, like, making sure everything's together. It's that extra anxiety there, that love, and so you pay attention going, "Are you at peace right now? 'Cause, you're not acting like it. If somebody walked in right now, they would definitely feel your angst." And I think you can also walk into a room and you can feel different people's energy. You can feel like, wow, I want to be next to that person. They're calm. They bring so much love. They bring so much light. Oh, that feels good. Or you can feel like, ooh, that person's not having a good day. It's a lot of anger coming. It's how we're reacting and pay attention to our reactions and our feelings. You said it perfectly. You felt it where you wanted to cry. It hit you. It was heavy. There's times where that's happens to me and I will go into my sacred space. I have a space in my home that's my sacred space. And I will go, I've had it. This is enough. Really?
Yes,
And
yeah.
it could even be what's happening in the world. Are you serious right now? How can this be
Yep.
good? And so, what happens then if we're all feeling this way? We're collectively adding that angst. But what if we
Mhm.
changed it and said, I'm going to collectively hand it over and ask for light and love to be placed on it so that light can put out some of this darkness, some of this heaviness. And I think that helps me. And you did it beautifully. You didn't have to be in your sacred space. You did it immediately in the car. You didn't wait. You did it in that moment. And that's the beauty of it. You don't have to be anywhere. You can do it when you're on the airplane. You can do it wherever you are. You can say it in your mind. You don't have to say it out loud either.
That's a good point. I might add that to this right now, rapid reel. I used to think that you had to speak it out loud. And so you're saying that you don't have to speak it out loud. When you're speaking to source, do you sometimes have the inner dialogue or do you always speak it
I have
out
a lot
loud?
of inner dialogue, and sometimes it's
Okay.
journaling too. I'm writing down, okay, this is what I see that I want to bring into my life. But I'm not asking for it. I'm giving gratitude for it. Thank you. And I write the date and I'll go back to it and go, oh, it took 6 months, but here it is. And so I feel that I'm given like this is coming. And that's why I'm writing what I want.
Mhm.
But I'm voicing to there's a lot of times I voice in the car. There's a lot of times how many times are you with family members and something might feel unsettled? Just I'm gonna voice my mind. I'm gonna be voicing
Yeah.
out loud. I'm not gonna step outside with that noticeable, but I can just pause and speak wherever I'm at. And a lot of times,
Mm.
if I'm walking or hiking, I'm voicing in my mind.
We've talked a lot about peace today, but joy is another huge emotion to help with this journey. What is something that brings you joy?
Love nature. I find just listening to the birds and going, I have 2 red cardinals that come every year, and so they showed up, and I'm like, I can't even tell you how much joy I have with that. Or I fed my rose bushes, and I walked out yesterday, and they were blooming. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful." So nature brings a lot of joy easily to me because it's just easily accessed. There's joy when it rains because I can smell it, I can feel it, sit with a blanket and watch it. There's just so much joy. Joy doesn't have to be I used to think when I had cancer, I have no joy. I can barely walk to go to the grocery store. I can't eat because of the smell. Where's my joy? And my joy was even listening to family members laugh. My joy was having my dog come up to me and hug me. You don't have to search for it. It's everywhere. You just have to recognize it. And sometimes it's that joy of going, you know what? I just feel like I need to dance. I'm going to dance in my kip room. I'm going to turn on the music. And I want to invite everybody to let their inner child come out because that
Mhm.
really brings out joy. We're so afraid, "Oh, we
Yeah.
have to be the adult now. We have to be this way."
Yes.
But let your inner child come out at home or with a friend or a sleepover, have an adult sleepover, whatever it is, because that brings out laughter, right?
Yeah, so
And sometimes you
healing.
don't laugh for a long time, and you're like, "Wow, I just heard myself laugh. That felt good."
I love that. I have certain friends that I
Mm.
purposely go to when I know because I know that when we're together, we're gonna
Yeah,
laugh. Like, it's like I have to have time with them because they bring out a playfulness in me that doesn't come out with everybody, but no, they're part of my
it's the
toolbox.
little giggles, it's the little going, like, over silly stuff. They know how to bring it out, and that's essential, that's important. And if you don't have
Yes.
somebody, a good friend to do it with, watch something funny, watch a funny movie that makes you laugh, or read a funny book, or do something that's gonna bring comedy or laughter to your life.
Yes, I love that. Before we get to the last question, is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to share with our listeners today? And then also just give us a little tidbit on how we can connect with you and your work, which will also be shared when we promote the episode.
Think what's really important is for people to never lose hope and that nothing is too big. Nothing is too big to
Mhm.
get through, nothing is too big to heal. Just stand in that hope and know that everything's possible and you got this. And there's light at the end of the tunnel always. And you're never alone, like we talked about. If you want to learn more about how my healings work, and I do offer like a free Zoom every month where people can come in, and it's called Army for Love. We built an army where people can talk about things that they're going through, where they can voice in a community where they feel safe. And we embrace each other with love as love heals. And so that's free once a month on every Tuesday. And yeah, they can go to my website at debramartinhealer.com, and all my Instagram, YouTube's all is the same. DebraMartin healer.com.
I will certainly be joining one of your next calls. That is a beautiful service to share with the world. And I encourage our listeners to join that, to follow up with you. But start with one of those calls. I think we can all benefit from connecting and sharing a little love.
And I want to say one other thing is I do a mini healing at the end of that.
Yes.
And we collectively are standing, holding each other as we walk through that. I allow spirit to work through me, and we close our eyes. It lasts 15, 20 minutes. We've seen on the platform miracles transpire right there, and people are talking about them. When you surrender, like I have to surrender and I let it come through me, it's not me. I am not, God is the healer, the source is the healer, spirit's the healer. I'm the voice.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We have one final question. Listeners might be in their own messy middle right now. Some might find themselves at a rock bottom moment. I'm wondering, what's a piece of advice for yourself that when you found yourself in those moments that you wish would have arrived sooner?
Think the feeling of don't give up, because I can remember being at rock bottom going, how do I even get up? And then really knowing, and my father taught me this, being a medium, I could hear him and he committed suicide. And he said, I never finished the chapter. I didn't know what was coming. And so I want you to always know there's something better coming. That right now you're in that messiness for a season, for a reason, for a lesson, for growth. It's there to support and help you. It's not there to hurt you. It's not there against you. It's making you stronger. You're going to walk through this with courage, and you're going to look back and see those blessings out of them. So hold on to that light of going, okay, I will see the blessing out of this. I don't know when, but I will. I got this, and I'm going to make it through it. It might be tough, but I can do it. I can do it.
This was such a beautiful and grounding conversation. Our listeners don't know, but I was having some tech challenges as we started off right before you and I connected today. And Listeners, I just have to share, just as soon as Deborah came on and I connected with her, I felt a sense of calm and healing that set this conversation off beautifully. For those of you that are a little skeptical about some of the more woo topics, I invite you to join her call and just experience that. What a low risk way and beautiful way to be able to experience something a little bit different for yourself and keep trying to find that space to hear yourself. A few quiet moments with yourself without distraction. Just start getting connected again to that inner voice and start building trust like we talked about today. Until next time, friends, stay messy. Much love to all of you. Before we wrap today, I want to invite you to be part of the Becoming is Messy community. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And if there's anything that resonates with you, please leave a review. Your feedback means the world to me, and it helps other people find this community. Follow me on social media. I'd love to hear your ideas for future topics, your questions, and stories from your own messy moments. And if you're feeling inspired, check out the Becoming is Messy shop, where you can grab a mug, a t-shirt, or something else that reminds you to embrace your messy magic every single day. A huge thank you to the incredible Wolves and Sheep for providing the music for Becoming is Messy. Check them out on your favorite music streaming platform. As we close out today's episode, remember this: messy is just another word for growing. So keep showing up, keep laughing, and keep making beautifully awkward progress. Until next time, stay messy, my friends.